Hey team, Jen here. I am making this video today as part of my writing overview series, which is a video series that I've designed for students who are taking courses with me and for anybody really who wants to understand some of the complexities of the academic genre. In this installment today, I have a lot to accomplish, and I want to try to do that in the most quick and succinct way that I can. Today, I wanted to talk to you a bit about the backbone of the academic genre, argumentation. You really can't have an academic essay without argumentation. Um, and I wanted to talk about it today as a three-stage process that includes first the argument or the judgment or the thesis or the claim, however you want to word that. It also includes the counter argument. And finally, it includes the stakes. Now, that three-tier system is not, it can be in any order, but those are three aspects of claim development or the process of argumentation that I think is most important for this genre, that stands out the most, and that shouldn't be missing from any academic essay that you write. So first of all, I think a lot of students feel intimidated by being asked to judge the context that they have on the table for the essay. Students are not accustomed, many students are not accustomed to being asked for their opinion. So I wanted to start there. An argument, in its nutshell, is essentially the writer's opinion. And that's just the way that it is, right? It's a judgment that the writer is making about whatever context is on the table. So in order to start making an argument, you must judge the problem that is in that context. So first you need to have a context that you're working with. You can watch my overview video on what is a context, how to, I think I actually named it The Pleasures of Context. Watch that video if you're not sure how to write within a context for an essay. The second step is to make sure that you're pointing your finger at a problem within that context. Because in order to make an argument, there has to be an issue, right? There has to be some tension. In other words, you must problematize some aspect within the context that you've chosen to focus your paper on. Without problematization, you cannot catalyze the process of making an argument. So once you've located a problem, a bit of tension, right, within your context, you have to judge that. So you want to have an opinion about what that problem is. And I always encourage students to start with an extremely simplistic approach to taking an opinion, to making a judgment. And that is by simply asking yourself the question, do I feel that this is good or bad? Right or wrong? Just or unjust, right? Starting very basic. So let's say that you are reading Sologub's novel, The Little Demon. Okay. And as you're reading it, you're thinking to yourself, wow, it's really problematic how Sasha is sexualized by Peretinov in this novel, right? And Peretinov ends up going crazy, and Sasha becomes increasingly sexualized, right? His little boy body, his cross-dressing as a little girl, and his sexualization by the three sisters who are much older than him. So you want to say, God, as I read The Little Demon, I was really thrown off by the sexualization of Sasha. So you can point your finger to that and say, it's a problem how Sasha has been sexualized in The Little Demon. You want to take an opinion about that, though. So it's not enough to say that there's a problem. You have to weigh in on that problem by telling readers what your judgment is about it. So start simple. Is it right or is it wrong? that Sasha is sexualized by Peretinov in The Little Demon. Now, let's just say that, uh, well, I guess I was going to say we could say that it's right, but I think I'd have a lot more unpacking and explaining to do. So let's say that you want to say it is a bad thing that Sasha is sexualized. If you want to start there, that's step one for your argumentation process. From there, it can become more complex. You want to keep asking yourself simple questions. Why is it? Why do I feel it's bad? Right? Well, I feel it's bad because sexualizing children can be a dangerous enterprise. Well, why do I think that sexualizing children can be a dangerous enterprise? Well, because they might be scarred from sexual encounters with older people who are not sensitive to maybe their psychological developments and their emotional developments. This can stagnate their growth, right? So why is that bad that their emotional growth could be stagnated? So why is that bad? So why is that bad? And after you do that a couple times, you're going to have a sense about what your judgment is. This is bad because A, B, C, and D. Now you've made a judgment. Now, hey team, my last video on argument got cut off, so I'm just going to pick up where I left off here. Now that you've made a judgment about, say, Sasha in The Little Demon by Sologum, your next step is to think about what a naysayer might say to challenge the judgment that you've made about your context. It's a very good idea to take a moment to think about the counter argument to your argument, because it gives readers the sense that you're not making an argument in a vacuum. You're not oblivious that your argument isn't perfect, right? Instead, you're acknowledging points that somebody who disagrees with you might bring to the table. And you're saying, I see the validity of the point that encouraging child sexuality could be a positive thing for their emotional and psychological development, right? You could say, I see the value of an observation like that because of A, B, and C. However, in The Little Demon, Sasha's treatment by Peretinov, warrants a closer look because of A, B, C, and D. So it's just like as if you're sitting down to have an argument with your lover or something, right? And you guys are bantering back and forth about something, grocery shopping or whatever it is that lovers argue about. And in order to make a good argument, right, you don't want to seem like you're pushing your ethos on the person with which you're having an argument, but rather you want to say, well, you know what, Jimmy, you have a point when you say that, I shouldn't go grocery shopping when I'm hungry because I do tend to buy things that maybe we don't need. But I'm still sticking to my point that when I go grocery shopping when I'm hungry, I tend to get food that I'm going to eat through the week. And I feel like I'm not wasting money on trying to buy foods that are more healthy for me when when what I really want is something, so I'm not wasting money on food that's not going to be eaten or whatever. So when you acknowledge the naysayer's perspective as part of your process of argumentation, what you're doing is you're enhancing your credibility for your readers. Your readers say, hey, this writer's pretty logical. This writer takes into consideration the opposite perspective of her judgment. And she says, I can see its merit, but she's reinforcing her perspective through that acknowledgement. Do you see how that works? So always recognize the naysayer as you develop your line of inquiry around argumentation. That's very important. The third thing that you should do as you develop your arguments is to note the stakes of your argument. Now, the argument is the judgment. It's the ethos. It's the moment when you say this is good, bad, right, wrong, just, unjust. It's your opinion dressed up, in other words. The stakes is the articulation of why your judgment has meaning. So the stakes is the so what that you'll oftentimes hear instructors ask their students for. It's the value, right, of your argument. It's not the argument itself. It's the value of that argument. Why does it matter that we view Sasha in The Little Demon as wrongly sexualized by Peretinov? Why does it matter? Now, stakes can take a wide variety of forms, right? They could be personal stakes. It matters to me because. It could be national stakes. Here in America, it's important that we blah. It could be educational stakes. It could be sexual stakes, political stakes. Could be, the list goes on and on, right? So think about why your judgment means something to you, to others, right? To the world at large, to humanity, to a certain demographic, to a certain institution. Always manifest for your reader the value of your judgments, right? So here in this short video, I've tried to encapsulate 3 major steps in the process of making arguments, right? And I started that with the argument itself, which is born from context and problematization. Counterargument and stakes, right? So the kind of trilogy there of what makes a great argument. Don't be afraid of voicing what you think is right and wrong. That is what the academic genre does. It does it in a way that makes it seem appropriate by including evidence, by including the other steps along the line of inquiry, right? You'd never want to have an essay that's dominated by ethos, but instead you always want to have a balance of the 3 appeals at least, right, in your essay, so that it's not a didactic text. It's not a didactic document when you're saying this is how it should be, and that's all I'm offering. But that is something that goes on in the background of an academic essay. I want to leave the essay feeling like I see your vision, I see your points, and that I'm buying into that because you've been very skillful with selling it to me. So I hope that gives you a good sense of what argumentation does in the academic genre, some insights about how to do it, and also some sense of the stakes about why you would want to do it. All right. Sorry for the double video here. I pushed a button accidentally while I was recording. So thanks for hanging in there with me, guys. I'll see you next time.